It's a here we go from Fabrizio Romano regarding the transfer of Jan-Paul van Hecke to Spurs. Fabrizio Romano has also stated that Tottenham are set to open talks with Newcastle for Sandro Tonali after Van Hecke, Robertson and Senesi done. Spurs reject a second bid from Brighton for Luka Vuskovic worth £35 million and that this possible transfer is separate from the Van Hecke deal. Tottenham Hotspur have rejected a number of approaches for highly rated striker Will Lankshear as interest in the young forward continues to grow, and Fabrizio Romano tells Spurs fans to be patient and stay calm as regards Savinho coming to Tottenham. Here is today's edition of Tottenham News. Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name's Craig and here is your daily Tottenham news headlines where I'll be going through all the latest news, rumours and reports. If you're watching on YouTube and are not already yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. Like, share and comment below. And if you're listening on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. And please make sure you turn on the notification bell so you get notified whenever we go live or upload a video to the channel. Okay, let's get into it. Italian journalist and transfer expert Fabrizio Romano has stated that Tottenham agree a deal to sign Jan-Paul van Hecke from Brighton. Here we go. New defender wanted by De Zerbi joining on £52 million deal. Agreement club to club done after player accepted Spurs conditions last week. All done and Vuskovic separate case, as David Ornstein reports. Ornstein in fact broke this exclusive news earlier by stating that Tottenham Hotspur reach agreement with Brighton and Hove Albion to sign Jan-Paul van Hecke. Deal for 26-year-old Netherlands international worth £52 million fixed, no add-ons. And on the Luka Vuskovic situation, Ornstein states that this is a separate deal and that a second Brighton offer worth £35 million has been rejected by Spurs for Vuskovic. And on Van Hecke, Sky Sports report that Tottenham Hotspur have reached an agreement with Brighton to sign Dutch defender Jan-Paul van Hecke in a deal worth £52 million, ending weeks of negotiations between the two Premier League clubs and had in Roberto De Zerbi one of his top summer targets. The 26-year-old centre-back is set to reunite with De Zerbi, who played a key role in his development during their time together at Brighton. Spurs had previously seen two bids rejected by the Seagulls, but talks continued and a breakthrough was eventually reached with a fee understood to be a straight £52 million without add-ons or player exchanges. Van Hecke is believed to have been keen on the move throughout the process, having entered the final year of his Brighton contract and shown little interest in signing an extension. The Netherlands international has made it clear that Tottenham was his preferred destination. Personal terms are not expected to present any problems. For Tottenham, the signing represents another significant step in De Zerbi's squad rebuild. The club have already strengthened their backline this summer with the arrivals of Marcos Senesi and Andy Robertson, while uncertainty remains over the futures of Christian Romero and Radu Dragusin. Van Hecke's arrival adds quality, experience and familiarity with De Zerbi's tactical demands. The transfer also comes against a backdrop of several and separate discussions involving teenage defender Luka Vuskovic. Brighton had made a substantial offer for the highly rated Croatian, but Tottenham rejected it, and the approach insist the two deals are unrelated. Spurs remain determined to keep hold of one of the most promising young defenders in Europe. The deal is expected to be formally completed once Van Hecke's international commitments with the Netherlands conclude, with Tottenham hopeful the defender will become a cornerstone of De Zerbi's new look side ahead of the 2026-27 campaign. Fabrizio Romano has also stated that Tottenham are set to open talks with Newcastle for Sandro Tonali after Van Hecke, Robertson and Senesi is done. Tonali keen on the move, as exclusively revealed reports of Tonali using Spurs to open doors to other clubs described as not true. And on Tonali, Sky Sports state that Tottenham Hotspur have identified Newcastle United midfielder Sandro Tonali as one of their marquee targets this summer, with new head coach Roberto De Zerbi determined to bring greater quality and control to the heart of his midfield. However, any move for the Italy international is expected to be one of the most difficult deals of the transfer window. According to Sky Sports, De Zerbi has made Tonali a priority as part of Tottenham's rebuilding project following a disappointing campaign. Spurs are looking to add a midfielder capable of dictating play, controlling possession and raising the technical level of the squad, with Tonali fitting the profile perfectly. From Tottenham's perspective, there is confidence that De Zerbi's relationship with Tonali and his admiration for the player could help persuade him to consider a move to North London. The Italian coach is believed to view the Newcastle star as a transformative signing who could become the centrepiece of his new look team. However, Newcastle remain in a strong position. Tonali is regarded as one of the club's most important players, and there is no desire at St James's Park to actively sell him. Any deal would require a huge transfer fee, with reports suggesting Newcastle would demand around £100 million before even considering negotiations. Competition for the midfielder is also intense. Man City, Arsenal and Manchester United have all been linked with Tonali, meaning Spurs would likely face a fierce battle if the player became available. Newcastle are therefore under little pressure to lower their valuation. The report highlights that Tottenham's interest should be viewed as a statement of intent after several seasons of criticism over their transfer strategy. The pursuit of Tonali demonstrates a willingness to target elite level players entering their prime, rather than focusing solely on younger prospects of bargain opportunities. While a deal remains difficult, Spurs are continuing to explore the possibility and are understood to have held positive discussions with the players' representatives. The biggest obstacle is not convincing Tonali of the project, but persuading Newcastle to part with one of their prized assets. For now, Tottenham's pursuit remains in its early stages, but it is clear that De Zerbi sees Tonali as the type of ambitious signing capable of accelerating the club's revival and signalling a new era in North London. Whether Spurs can overcome Newcastle's valuation and fend off rival interest will be one of the major transfer stories to watch this summer. Tottenham Hotspur have rejected a number of approaches for highly rated striker Will Lankshear, as interest in the young forward continues to grow following an impressive loan spell with Oxford United, according to an exclusive report from Haters. The 21-year-old enjoyed a productive season in the Championship, scoring 12 goals and providing 4 assists for Oxford United, performances that have significantly enhanced his reputation and market value. Spurs are understood to value the striker around £20 million. And have already turned away several inquiries from clubs across Europe. Among the clubs credited with a strong interest is Sporting, who reportedly view Lankshear as a player capable of making a similar impact to that of former striker Viktor Gyökeres. The Swedish forward flourished after joining Sporting from Coventry City, before eventually securing a lucrative move to Arsenal. Despite the growing interest, Tottenham remain reluctant to part with the England youth international. The club are believed to rate him highly and see considerable long-term potential in his development. However, the report suggests Spurs could consider a sale if a sufficiently large offer arrives during the summer transfer window. A second loan move is also under serious consideration. Several Championship clubs have already contacted Tottenham about taking Lankshear on loan for the 26-27 campaign, with the club weighing up whether regular first-team football would be the best route for his continued development. The report also reveals that Middlesbrough submitted a bid potentially worth £15 million in January. However, both Spurs and the player opted to continue his spell at Oxford and reassess his future at the end of the season. Lankshear remains under contract at Tottenham until 2029, placing the North London club in a strong negotiating position. With new head coach Roberto De Zerbi looking to reshape his squad for this summer, Tottenham are expected to make several key decisions regarding young talents and fringe players as they seek to raise funds for incoming transfers. The situation leaves Spurs with a significant choice: cash in on one of their most promising academy graduates while his value is rising, or retain faith in a striker whose breakthrough season suggests he could yet have a future in the first team. And on Savinho, Fabrizio Romano has stated that Savinho remains a strong possibility for Tottenham, with conversations still ongoing between Spurs and City. Savinho sees the project as even more ambitious now De Zerbi has joined the club. Romano told Spurs fans to be patient and stay calm. Okay, here's my thoughts on those stories this evening. Firstly, Van Hecke, the here we go. Didn't expect it to come that quickly, but just goes to show, doesn't it? Tottenham making moves in this transfer window now, buying in experienced Premier League ready players. Who'd have thought it? We've been crying out for this for seasons, and finally Tottenham are actually doing what we all wanted. You know, Van Hecke, obviously great player for Brighton. Really highly valued, and well, you've only got to look at the transfer fee there. You know, only a year left on his contract, but still commanding a big fee. I think he's going to be a really good addition to the back line. And again, it's somebody that De Zerbi wants, De Zerbi approves, and De Zerbi has got. How many times has that happened in the past when we've gone for a cheaper alternative? And they've actually gone out and got another player that De Zerbi wanted, obviously alongside Robertson and Senesi, and now Van Hecke. You know, that's improving and strengthening our backline immeasurably over the last couple of seasons. And whether Romero goes out the door, whether Dragushin goes out the door, you would think one or probably two of those is going to be going. This still strengthens our defence. So Tottenham making early moves, and obviously the big sort of breaking news as well from Romano about Tonali, that Spurs are in for Tonali. He's interested in the project. He likes the thought of being managed by and playing under Roberto De Zerbi, and it's going to be a difficult deal to get done. Of course it is, but you know, if Newcastle 100 million, do you go in with 92 million and you know, just test the waters, see if Newcastle's resolve bends a bit? I think it seems like Spurs really do mean business, and we all say, "Oh, I only believe it when the player's holding up the shirt." You see all these rumours before. We've seen them all before. We've been linked with big players, and nothing ever comes to pass. But is this transfer window going to be different? In my opinion, as I've said many times, it has to be. It simply has to be. We cannot be in that position next season that we were in last season, 17th, fighting for Premier League survival. We survived, and I genuinely think this has scared the club massively. And perhaps it needed something like that to happen for the club to actually act. I mean, it's a terrible way to run a business, isn't it? But you know, if that has scared them that much to realise that, you know, there is jeopardy in the Premier League and Spurs would never be in that position to be relegated, well, guess what? You nearly found out that we were relegated. So, you know, they seem to be going about things very differently to what I can remember for years and years and years at Spurs. So, and you know, that would actually, I mean, it'd be amazing if we got Tonali in. I wouldn't say personally that Tonali is world class, but he's an absolute elite level footballer. Newcastle, I can see why they don't want to lose the player. Fantastic player for them. But, you know, money talks, and if we want the player, this is going to be the telling thing for me. Obviously spent a lot on Van Hecke, but if we go in 90 odd million and get Tonali, that really does mean and look like we mean business. Vuskovic, let's come on to Vuskovic. I don't quite understand this deal. Now, obviously, again, De Zerbi will have had a plan. Probably doesn't see Vuskovic as ready. He doesn't see, well, we don't see him every day like De Zerbi would have done, but that's what I'm getting at. Has he seen enough of Vuskovic to determine whether he's going to be a player for him, or could be a player for him next season? That is a weird one for me. I think we all like Vuskovic. Every supporter you talk to, all the comments under the videos, when we talk about Vuskovic, we all say, I don't understand it. Some people are saying, yeah, it makes sense to get good money for him, but you just know this lad is going to be an absolute monster in years to come. He already is. But, you know, could we be letting one slip through our fingers? Personally, I think if he's not going to get in De Zerbi's team, then you loan him out. Even loan him to Brighton. I I've not got, I wouldn't say I've got a good feeling about it, but I'd rather this one didn't happen. I'd rather we kept hold of Vuskovic at least for another season, and like I say, loan him out again, but loan him to a Premier League team. But let's see what happens with that. It'll be sad if he leaves the club without ever playing for us in a game that isn't a friendly. So yeah, it would be sad to lose him, but let's see what happens there. Another player that could be going out is Will Lankshear. Obviously, Lankshear never really been quite there or thereabouts to actually push for a starting position or maintain a regular first team squad position for Tottenham. Good season last season for Oxford, of course, but is Will Lankshear one of those that's going to be sacrificed to bring in some funds for other Premier League ready strikers? Always a shame when somebody from the academy essentially is sold, but Lankshear commands, they Spurs value him at 20 million. Are they going to get 20 million? Not sure. I think we all wanted Lankshear to be that next sort of Harry Kane type player that comes through the ranks and sets the Premier League alight, but we haven't actually seen anything to say that would be the case so far. But again, Lankshear, do you just loan him out? I think Spurs, I mean, they might sell, but I think perhaps another loan for Lankshear and then reassess next year. I'm not sure he's at the level we need at the moment to be going straight into the first team, but let's see what happens with Lankshear. I really rate the player, I have to say. And finally, the little message from Romano about Savinho is quite telling Spurs fans to be calm. And that Savinho is basically still interested in Tottenham. Tottenham are still interested in Savinho, and this deal could still get done. Again, a player with Premier League experience, not tons. He's only been there 2 years. He hasn't had many opportunities, or tons of opportunities under Pep, of course. But then again, when you're playing in the same team as the likes of Jeremy Doku and Phil Foden and the like, Marmouche, and it's difficult to get in the side. But has he been given enough opportunities to shine and thrive? You'd think Savinho would be pushing for that left wing starting position. What does that mean for Matisse Tell, for example, if he comes in? We're kind of still linked with Somerville as well, but I think it sounds like Savinho is the one that would be more likely to happen. And although we've been in for the player before, didn't quite get it done last summer in January, perhaps this year is the time for Spurs to sign Savinho. So let's see what happens there. But get down in the comments, let me know your thoughts on Savinho, on any of the other stories that I've talked about this evening. How are you feeling? Do you think Spurs are different or going to act differently this transfer window? It started off great, hasn't it? But get down in the comments, let me know how you're feeling, as I say. And as always, come on you Spurs.